Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to take a look at solving a differential equation using integrating factors. Okay, so the example I'm going to take a look at is dy dx minus 4y equals e to the x. Okay, so this is straight out of a textbook. I've not written the answer yet. Let's just get stuck in, see what happens. So we're going to use the integrating factor. So the first question is how do we begin? What's the general form? Well, here it is, general form, dy dx plus some function of x times y equals q of x. This is how we begin all problems with the integrating factor. So what do we have in our case? Well, I can see p of x is minus 4 and q of x is e to the x. Let's make a note of those. You don't have to write them, but in this case I have. Just need to be aware of what they are. What we do need to know is the definition of the integrating factor, which is e to the power of the integral of p. In our case, we're integrating minus 4, which is e to the minus 4x. So that is our integrating factor, e to the power minus 4x. Notice we didn't add the constant of integration, but we don't need to do that for this step. We'll deal with that much later. Okay, so what do we do next? After we found this integrating factor, well, we should multiply our equation in the general form by the integrating factor. So we get e to the minus 4x dy dx, take away 4, e to the minus 4x equals e to the x times e to the minus 4x. Just add those powers, minus 3x. And we should notice a pattern on the left hand side. Oh, just notice I've missed the y. Just pop that on. I missed this y. There you go, that's better. Okay, you should notice a pattern on the left hand side, something that will always happen from our construction. We're going to get some function here and its derivative in the other term, and similarly we'll have our answer here and its derivative here. So actually the left hand side, it just looks like a product rule of two functions, which is always the integrating factor times the solution, which is y. Okay, and we know that is e to the minus 3x. Okay, so our job from here is to find y. So we know if we differentiate this function here, then we get e to the minus 3x. So if we integrate both sides, we'll get e to the minus 4x times y is the integral. Let's write all the steps. E to the minus 3x. Well, this is a standard integral. This is minus 1/3 e to the minus 3x. At this point, I'm going to bring in my constant of integration, my plus c. I'm not far off from the answer now. The last thing I need to do is isolate the y, which is the answer. To do that, I'm going to divide through by e to the minus 4x. So let me just write it again. So we're by here now, dividing through by e to the minus 4x to isolate that y. we get y equals minus 1/3 e to the minus 3x divided by e to the power minus 4x plus c divided by e to the minus 4x. And just a little bit more tidying up, we have e to the power, okay, so how many do we have? We need to take away these numbers. It's the rule for indices. So minus 3x minus 4x, which is just x. Is that right? Yep. The minus third stays where it is. And in the second term, I think I'll bring that e up to the top, so that the power will go from a negative to a positive. And there you go. My final answer is y equals minus 1/3 e to the x plus c e to the power 4x. And that is the end of the question.